Now a new segment on Your Money and Business. It is called Primetime Living, and it is produced in partnership with the Maryland Department of Aging and its Maryland Access Point Service. Tonight, home modifications to improve safety. Joining us is Jim Resnick with the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service. Jim, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're retired.
Thrilled to be here.
Glad to have you. Retired battalion chief.
Yes, sir.
Paramedic training as well. How many times did you respond to calls for somebody who had fallen and hurt themselves?
In a 40-year career, probably thousands of times.
And we were talking about the idea that those not only hurt people, but they're very costly.
Yes.
And balance that with the cost of doing some modifications in advance, and it's no contest.
It's no contest financially. One of the big issues that people have is emotionally, aesthetically, do I want to do this thing in my house that says that I'm aging? But as I say, the time to make that decision is not when you're lying on the floor. The time to do it is now, ahead of time.
What are some modifications that people ought to think about?
I hate to say this, but almost every part of the house has its potential dangers for falls. Obviously, we think of stairs, so I'll start there. A good, secure, very, very firm handrail, but one on both sides of the steps. A lot of people say, you know what, my home was built with just the one side, and it meets the code. The problem is that as we get a little bit older, our balance is not quite what it was, and we see a lot of people who have the falls on the stairs. And even if our balance is okay, I'll give you the example of I'm carrying a laundry basket in my right hand. Well, that means I'm going to have to grab onto the handrail with my left hand, but if I have a sore shoulder or something like that, I might have taken that out of the equation. By having a handrail on each side, it gives me options.
When you think about stairs, you also think about clutter, because the steps are just a great place to put things that eventually you're going to take upstairs, but you don't get around to.
Well, I've got kids. I've got teenage boys, and the mantra is clean it up. And whether it's their bedrooms or the stairs or anything like that, things belong in their place. We need to keep our stairways, our hallways, any place that we're going to be transiting, it needs to be kept clear. As a firefighter, I look at all of those like a fire exit. It needs to be clear. It needs to be accessible. Day to day, you might be able to navigate it, but if things are going bad for one reason or another, you want a clear passageway.
Stairs are one trouble spot. Bathrooms are another big one. What do we need to think about there?
So within the bathroom, you want to think about, number one, having a nice, clean, non-slip surface. Some cases, bath mats are okay, but it depends upon what the subflooring is, what your flooring is, and is it going to be something which is slippery or not. Try it out, okay? Try out different product. When you go visit a friend, if they've got a nice bathroom mat or something like that that's not slipping, find out where they got that. Try to imitate that. You also need handrails in the right places, okay? If you think about it, where we're sitting down and standing up, getting on and off the toilet is a big one, getting in and out of a shower or a bathtub. And try to just picture where it is that your hands would be to give you support in those situations, and that's where you should consider getting handrails.
Do people do a good job installing those? I mean, you need to, the thing needs to screw into a stud, not the drywall.
Yeah, so that's the type of work that you're better off having someone who has done the work before, who understands about how homes are put together, and can do the job safely, correctly, and effectively. Because in the case of the bathroom with the handrail, if I just throw it into drywall and then something has happened and I'm starting to fall with a lot of my weight, I'm probably just going to rip that right out of the wall. You want to have a setup where it's strong enough, secure enough, and in the right place. So a good handyman, which you can get from a referral from friends, sometimes from your local community centers, senior centers, and I always recommend you go onto one of these online places where you can check different services, an Angie's List type of a thing, also Consumer Checkbook, or your local Better Business Bureau.
You brought a walker along with a couple accessories I haven't seen before.
Okay, so some of the props that I brought here are this. One of the other mantras that we have in terms of trying to prevent falls is light the way. Okay, light yourself up. So there are commercially available lights that you can put onto a cane or a walker, a wheelchair, or anything like that. What I did was I'm showing a couple of modifications that I did just using things I found at the local hardware store. This is what they call a U-clamp, and I've attached this LED light here. This entire setup between the light and the clamp was less than $5. If you're at all a little bit crafty, if you're at all a little bit good with tools, this is something you can do on your own. You could also purchase something like this that's pre-made. You can go online and find things like this. They're probably going to be a little bit more expensive. They might look a little fancier.
Running short on time, so tell me about the umbrella.
Okay, the umbrella is because we're not only talking about being careful indoors, but also outdoors. The idea behind this umbrella is it could act like a cane, but I like it because it's bright. I want cars, I want other people out there to see me, and that's going to reduce the chance that I'm going to be a statistic.
Before we go, a home safety check, which would include your smoke detectors. Where do people turn?
They can contact their local fire department, whatever city, whatever county, whatever town that they're in. Get in touch with the local fire department, career fire departments, volunteer fire departments. They're here to serve you. Jim
Resnick with Montgomery County Fire and Rescue. Thanks for coming by.
I'm thrilled.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks for the time. That is our program for this week. Join us tomorrow for State Circle. For all of us at MPT, thanks for watching and have a good night.
Your Money and Business is a production of Maryland Public Television in association with the University of Maryland's Robert H. Smith School of Business.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.